Hey friends, I couldn't even wait to get into the office to bring you today's message. Today I want to talk to you about the journey, specifically the customer journey, and we'll get to that, but also I want to talk to you about your journey because this can help you contextualize when you're trying to figure out, what are your prospects? What is the journey that they're on that's going to lead them to you and your service? And one of the things that really brought this home to me was I listened to a podcast by Kai Davis. I don't know if Kai has a podcast actually, but he was on a podcast talking about the journey from basically being sort of a done for you service person to being a consultant. And as I listened to him map out this journey that he had gone through, it pretty much mirrored exactly what I have gone through in the last few years, maybe the last, 5 years or so. And I just remember my mind being blown. Like all this time I was just sort of in it, in the struggle, in the trenches, not really thinking about the larger picture, not really thinking about the fact that like maybe I'm not a completely special snowflake. Maybe other people have been on this path, right? And it just gave me a whole new perspective. And as I've had, different business coaches over the last few years, this point has just been driven home even more to me. And so wherever you are in your business journey right now, maybe you're, in your first couple, 3 years, or you've been at it for a while, but do you have context for where you are in that journey? If you're just kind of in the trenches, slogging it out on your own, I really highly encourage you to get some perspective. Get some perspective from someone who is further along the path than you. Whether that's like hiring your own coach or just like reading some really good books from people who are in your industry or listening to podcasts or whatever it is, because this can really give you a lot of context and it can save you a ton of time and stress and mistakes. I had a client, in the last few months who is really like fresh out of school web development person. And she was all excited because she got this project and it was bigger than any project that she's had before. And I saw all these red flags, I was like, based on the experience that she had at the time, I was like, hey, let me tell you, what happened when I took a project like this, where I really got in over my head for where I was at that stage of my business and what it cost me. Here's the pain of that mistake that I lived through that I can pass on to you. And that's something that, everybody's got to make their own mistakes, but you don't have to make all the mistakes, right? So I was able to give her that perspective and maybe save her a lot of, pain and time and struggle to really focus on finding not just, work that pays her well, but work that pays her well that's like in her zone of genius. So that's what having someone, further along the path can do for you. And so as this relates to a customer journey, a lot of us, when we're thinking about getting clients, especially if you're thinking about getting clients right now, you're just thinking about who's ready right now. But in order to be ready right now, whenever now is, that person had to go on a journey. And maybe they had to make some of their own painful mistakes. Maybe they had to suffer with their problem to a point where they're ready to do something about it. But you don't just want to catch people at that right now point. You actually want to know what is the journey that people take to get to the point where it's the perfect time for them to hire you. And you want to think about and define that journey so that you know how to talk to those people all along the path. You might get somebody who's just, they're not even really truly aware that there's a problem, right? They're not problem aware. And you need to be able to communicate with them in such a way that you're like, hey, here's what's going on, here's the kind of problems I solve. And if this resonates with you, if this matches you, then you might actually be on this path. You might have this problem. And if so, here's how we can start to think about solving that problem. And if you do that, if you construct content, which we're going to talk about in a future video, that really speaks to people all along that path, then you are going to have much more success than if you're constantly chasing those right now people. So that's what I wanted to share with you, even before I got out of the car to go into the office. I hope it's helpful, and I hope you will think about that one person who could really use this message and share this video with them. And if you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel and click the bell so you get notified about future videos. And if you want, you can come on over to my website and you can hop on the email list and get access to some of the subscriber only resources. All right, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.